has made the recharge battery of our hands up. No. Thank you very much. Welcome to the second panel. Our focus today is basically to glean understanding on how individuals have been able to lead long-existing traditional institutions through cycles of innovations. What lessons exist for people of same profiles in Nigerian environments? Somehow I feel all this is big English. True or false? It shows that you are hungry. Okay, but we will roll through. The first session was very insightful. Did you enjoy the first session? Speaking from your role and capacity. Or do you know what? Let me come down and break it down and ask, what role does innovation play in businesses? And at what stage can a business start innovating?
I'll flip the question a bit. I think for innovation, I think it should go together with the start of a business. Because the age we're in right now, innovation plays a very key role in our businesses, in the success of our businesses. So, you want a short answer or a long answer?
You want a short answer or a long answer? 60 marks.
I'll give an example. So, several businesses are closing in the UK right now. I don't know if you know Boots, Marks and Spencer's, Debenhams. These guys are big brands, super big brands, but there's something they've not done. Amazon has taken most of their business. And what's that? Amazon has done innovation differently. They've actually innovated. So I think before you could say build your product and then put on innovation afterwards or something, but I don't want to go with that now. I think as you build your product or as you build your business, start to think of how to innovate.
I think definitely yes. And the key way is through partnerships, right? So if you look at the banking industry today, a lot of collaboration is happening between fintechs and the main banks, right? So as a startup or as anyone going into entrepreneurship, I think your key focus should be, first of all, how do I get a minimum viable product, right? How do I get a product that people want to use? Then once you get that, it now opens you up it makes you a bride to established players. They can now partner with you to now, provide the capital or provide the access to customers that will use the product. So for me, basically, I don't necessarily see finance as a barrier. It depends on what stage you are. So partnership is the way to go.
So what are the stages for some who want to say, okay, what stage and how do I know I'm at that stage?
So there's the, ideation stage, you have the growth stage, then the full rollout. So as you start a business, right, the first thing you tend to do, based on what the last speaker said, is what product do I want to sell? What's my target segment, right? Then can I develop a product, a prototype that people can validate, right? So for example, at First Bank, what we do is my team looks at what's happening out there, right? So what are people coming up with? Is it something that is valuable? What's the real value that each product or each service can offer? And now see how we can plug it into the different segments that we have, right? We have retail, we have corporates, right? So for those different stages, the source of capital is usually different, right? So for example, if you're during the ideation phase, it's usually friends, family, and we call it fools, FFFs, right? So people around you. Then when you're going into the growth stage, you now have people like your incubators, accelerators, or VCs that will put money into your business before you now have the full rollout where other people, different rounds come in, Series A, Series B, and all that. So that's the different way you can get your capital, or just go through partnerships.
Okay, thank you very much. So two questions in one. How he talked about partnership or collaboration, has an impact in your own business as a social lender?
Yes and no. So yes, in the sense that collaboration and partnerships plays a very strong role in businesses growing. But I'll say that you also need to look at the ecosystem that you're in. So I'll take, for instance, social lender. So this is not a dig at you as First Bank, sorry, but I can tell you for free that I'm going to hail Sterling Bank here because they're the only bank who believed in the product. Product is not me lending to you. The product is me trying to get the banks to access a market that they otherwise would not have had access to. So let me put it in a bit of a nutshell. People abroad have access to credit cards. Do we have credit card? Please, who has a credit card here? Who does? I just want one person. Everybody. You do? You do, right? Yeah, no, not you. Definitely not you. Who does? Nobody. But yeah, abroad, you need to be able to build your credit history, and then that gives you more access to be able to get stuff. I'm not trying to sell the credit society, but I'm saying that credit does play a major role in us growing as individuals and growing our businesses. And so that's something we didn't have here. So what I'm trying to do is I built a solution. I'm not lending you money. Sorry about the name. But I'm not lending you money. I've just simply built a solution that will help him lend you money because he doesn't know you. So he needs to be able to know you. And I've told him I can give you a score that can tell you if, please shout a name here. Who's here? Shout one name. Oh, Temitokwe, nice one. Okay, so I've just said I'm going to connect Temitokwe to him. And I've given him Temitokwe's score. With Temitokwe's score, and with the fact that my solution can actually do the entire process, it's an end-to-end lending solution. So I'm marketing myself to you, obviously. Yeah, thank you very much. But yeah, so what I've simply done is I've connected. But a lot of banks did not actually believe in us. They thought it was far-fetched. They thought it was too new. So that's where collaboration and partnership. So you have to keep at it. Today, many banks are knocking on my door to say, let's have a conversation. So yes, partnerships and collaboration. You haven't knocked, though. Yeah, but I'm just trying to say partnerships and collaboration. But where you don't have those partnerships and collaboration, you still have to internally innovate. Still find ways, to go around that particular problem.
So still pushing on that. What are the challenges you faced in driving system-led innovation?
Speak that English slightly different so that they understand. Not for my sake.
As a worry boy.
Yes, that's more like it.
I did try to maintain my package.
Not try.
Okay, basically, what are the challenges you have faced? Now, this is something innovative you're doing.
Okay.
And we know our system, when it comes to money, stay at arm's length. Okay, what are the challenges you face in ensuring that this thing works? Okay, and you're building a system to ensure that it's working.
Okay, sorry. The first challenge is you guys here. That's the honest truth. And I think I was speaking to someone from your team about it. The truth is that we have a poor system or poor way of addressing work ethics. I don't know if you face that. Honestly, people are just laid back, lazy, plain-assed lazy. Forgive the French. That's actually one of the biggest issues. My co-founder is here, and we still had that conversation last night. We still had a conversation with my consultant last night, where you have to fire somebody almost immediately because the person is not ready to work. You just want money to drop from the sky. It's not going to work that way. And so I think our biggest challenge can sometimes be the human resource, because you still need human beings to drive some of these things. Yes, technology makes it easier, but people have to drive some of these things. We're building the tech. I'm really proud of my team. I'll say that for free. But not everyone has actually had it the way I am. Maybe it's because of the way I've hired people or the approach to leadership that I have. I don't know what it is. But I'm just saying that one of our biggest challenges is the human resource. Getting good hands, skilled hands, people who have good work ethics is really poor out there. Well, that's just one of it. I could go on and on.
Okay. A lot of people from the other panel, Ferdy said something. He said, by the time you graduated, your certificate is what? Okay. Whose fault is it? Is it the government or is it our fault?
It's your fault.
Sorry? It's good we answer these questions ourselves. Whose fault is it? The government's fault or your fault? If you say it's the government fault, say I. If you say it's your fault, say nay. Who has it?
The eyes have it.
Whose fault is it?
I think it's a combination of both, right? I was just saying that the truth is, based on current curriculums that we have, your degree before you even enter university is outdated. So that's the reality. I was talking to, I went for a conference, and one of the key things, this is even in banking, and the truth is this: banking is going to evolve from what we see it currently. And going back to your point, now you're going to have more tech people in banks than you have today, right? So that means a lot of back office operations will be automated. So if you have someone in your family that is head of banking operations, that works in the branch, that is not sales focused, in the next 5 years, they'll be out of the job. That's the honest truth, right? There's a bank in Singapore, DBS, that they were able to transform their workforce from just employees to, they created a startup culture such that what you are doing today, you're now thinking of how can you make it better, you know? So again, the government had messed up with our curriculum. I heard even the curriculum had not been updated since whenever. But also there are platforms for us to learn. There are free Coursera's and all those things where you can, go upskill yourself, right? And looking at the trend, looking at what the future is, it's now left to you to say, okay, what do I want to do? And what I want to do, how are those trends going to affect what I want to work on? And how can I better position myself, to tap into it? So one of the hottest jobs in the next few years, or even currently right now, are data scientists, right? I was at the same conference. These were international banks saying that they are looking for data scientists, right?
Sorry to just come in here. The same corporate institutions sometimes are the ones who drive for the certifications.
Yeah, certification is different from university degree.
I know I'm going with this. So someone goes here, hears all these things we're saying, goes get some certification online and builds a skill. Does that pass in a traditional setting or cultural setting where it has always been seen and thought that it has to be one of these formal institutions and all that?
No, so I'll tell you, Myra just stood up. We worked on a project where, Alert, right? Alert, Wema Bank's digital banking platform. We worked on it, we helped build that. And I know that we had to hire a lot of developers. It wasn't about whether you had a formal degree or not.
Yeah.
It was about, can you do the work?
Yeah.
So the mindset is also changing, right? So it's not about, you spent 4 years in 4 walls. It's good, right? But just be sure you are spending those 4 years in the right institution, right? But the major thing, even if you go to the US, right, it's about what you can do. What can you do, right? So certificates or certifications help, prove that, at least you know what you're doing. Hopefully, if there's a pass mark. But now, let's get your hands dirty. As you said, what can you do stuff? It's very critical.
So we're moving, like someone said, we're moving from certificates to certificates.
Yeah, I agree.
Please ask your neighbor, what can you do?
Okay, so I was going to add to it that you can start by reading. That's a good place to start, honestly. So whatever it is you do right now.
Reading Insta blog.
I didn't say that. You're supposed to be reading up. You're supposed to keep up with trends. And how do you find, those pieces of information? Mostly hidden in books. It doesn't have to be just reading. You could have audiobooks, all sorts of reading going on, all sorts of learning going on now. So start with reading up, so that way whatever pieces of information is hidden to general public, you can avail yourself of it and then, improve.
So for us to be successful, or for us to have been this successful so far, to be honest, it starts with executive sponsorship, right? And that's very key. The management team has to strongly believe in innovation, and innovation has a place in securing or driving their future business, right? So once you have executive sponsorship, I think that's the minimum you can have, right? The second thing also is, a lot of times, some people just feel innovation has to create value. A lot of times, some people feel it's just a wishy-washy, fanciful term, right? So that's why, as I said earlier, whatever innovative product or whatever innovation you are bringing must be valuable. It must have significant impact to the targeted segment or customers, right? So that's another key thing. And in terms of mindset, it's also a bit of fear, right? You use fear to make people sit up. I'm sure a lot of people, when I said in 5 years, if you work in a branch, if you have anyone that works in a branch, go tell them to start changing their careers. I'm sure people that work in branches will once they get home, they will call them, right? But that's the honest truth. So our leadership has also looked at, there's no bank that is too big to fail, right? And that's another key thing that we're also leveraging on. The death of BlackBerry, for example, Nokia also. Who would have thought Nokia would have gone the way it had, or BlackBerry won't be around, right? So having those precedents has also helped create the culture or the mindset that, we need to also, as a bank, it doesn't mean because you've been around for 125 years, doesn't guarantee you'll be around for the next 5 years. So you need to be at the forefront of what's happening in the banking industry. And again, just to put it out there, I think for the banks now, the real challenge is not actually even fintechs. Fintechs don't necessarily have the money or the customer reach that the banks have. But our real threats now are what we call technology companies that are interested in finance, right? So you look at the likes of Facebook, you look at the likes of Google, you look at the likes of Amazon, you look at the likes of Apple. Those are the real threats to banking, right? So for us, that mindset, we had an innovation committee meeting a couple of weeks ago, and where, for my senior management team, the mindset was banks need to change. We need to change from an institution just offering banking services, but our mindsets now have to be, we have to be tech companies offering banking services. So having that vision, right, is helping drive whatever innovation initiatives are coming up, because they know the fastest way to die is for you to do nothing, right? So those are the ways we've been able to drive innovation in the bank.
Amazing. The last statement, the fastest way to die is to do nothing. I think that's the take home for me. Faith, we have over 30 million on the bank's people. Okay, so there's a social problem. And then you bring your innovative solution to solve the problem. I need you to just tell us, give us a story, how you're able to do that, so that some of us who have ideas, in the social space can be able to say, yes, she did it, and this was how, and yeah, we can do it.
Okay, so it started years back where I'm not a techie, I'm a business person, and I had my background in a bit of finance and investment banking, and the problem we saw was the fact that people did not have access to formal credit, like I said earlier. So somebody needs access to 10,000 naira in the middle of the night. You don't want to approach a family member or a friend. It's something we do in the society now, but maybe years from now we will not have that kind of access. So what do we do for that pregnant woman who's going to the hospital and doesn't have money at the moment? That for us, lending, the social lender name, the lending part of the business was the lowest hanging fruit, was the easiest route to market. So what we wanted to do was create a social reputation score, an alternative credit score that will give you access to a lot of things. It can also give you access to maybe employment. It could also give a lot of access in the retail industry. Quite a lot of things. They maybe sound far-fetched right now, but let me just go to the real story behind it. Mama Risika, who is in the village, wants to have access to, say, 10,000 naira, right? She doesn't even have a bank account. That's her first problem. So because she doesn't have a bank account, I'm going to use real life examples. So First Bank doesn't know her. So what does she do in this instance where First Bank doesn't know her? She needs 10,000 naira, and she's a very good woman. So people in the society know her. They understand her kind of person. If she says she's going to do something, she was going to do it. So we started thinking around it. How can Mama Risika's reputation as a person, as an individual, how can it benefit her? And so that's where we came up with the word social reputation. So is there a way to alternatively score her or give her a credit score that she can now approach any of the financial institutions to say, I'm a good person, please give me 10,000 naira. Of course, you can't do all of this by word of mouth and expect First Bank to give her that money. So we digitized that process. We digitized people's relationships, people's interactions, their social network. The fact that you use your phone, you use your mobiles, you use, a lot of technology. You leave behind something we call a digital fingerprint or a digital footprint. Now, when we harness that footprint, we give you an alternative credit score that now gives you access to the formal institutions. So I'll go back to Mama Risika now. Because she is in the village, don't forget that she most likely does not have a smartphone. She probably has a feature phone. That's like your basic, you people call it palasa, right? Yeah, so she has a palasa phone and she wants to still be able to get in touch with First Bank. Via SMS or USSD, she can send messages, and then there'll be, she can send messages to our platform. There's an interaction, and then she gets a message to say, you have this score. Go ahead to type, maybe press 1 for First Bank, press 2 for Sterling. Today is Sterling, Union, First City, FCMB Microfinance, and quite a number of microfinance banks on the platform. And so just choose your option of a lender, and with your score, you can actually access, credit. Now, if, for instance, this is not Mama Risika now. Sorry, I'm going to use a male example, but in our own experience, women pay better. So hail to all the women here. Women do pay better. But so let's say it's Mr. Muftao. I don't know. Maybe I'm using Muslims' name. But let's say it's Mr. Tokbe, for instance, now, and he wants the same access to, say, 10,000 or 50,000 naira, whatever it is. If, for instance, his score isn't good, he can actually invite his friends on that same platform on a feature phone to help him improve his score. So what we've done here is not just his social reputation, it is the reputation of other people around him. So what we're simply doing as a company is we've digitized the way you look at trust. So anywhere you need to be able to enable trust or to ascertain trust, we've actually done that for Mr. Tokwe in this instance. And so when he calls his friends around and they stand as maybe social guarantors or social referees, then he's able to get access to that credit. So in a nutshell, that's what the business is about.
So, just 2 lessons from that journey that has you've picked out from your own journey. 2 vital lessons. That probably you when you went in, probably you were thinking it was this way, and then you realize, oh, okay, this is a new learning for me. Okay, so first learning for us was we first started with smartphones. So you can download the app, you could you could have access via web, but we realized that the 30 million Nigerians who do not have access to formal credit, a lot of them are in the rural areas. And so that's when we launched our SMS and USSD platforms to be able to reach Mr. Tokwe and Mama Risika. Okay, so when your idea it's not being delivered the way you conceived it, there's nothing wrong in tweaking and looking for other ways to get it out
Oh,
there?
there's so much room for innovation, of course. There's so much room for improvement. We added machine learning on after a while. That's where data science comes in. Just to be able to take a look at people, in a broader scope and be able to also scale as a business. So, yes, we're currently, we're currently building out the product. We're not where we want to be for sure, but we're definitely on that path, and then we're constantly innovating to make sure that we're able to tweak the product, to customize the product, like Mr. Joshua said, to fit that ecosystem that we're addressing.
Yeah, I was just trying to get to the fact that sometimes some of us who are Christians, we keep on believing God that a particular thing we started with will work, and it's not working, and we're not thinking about going back to tweak one or two things, and I think that's what you just cleared out. Third man on the panel just walked in. Ladies and gentlemen, please can you put your hands together for my friend Samson Olatunde. Yes, we're going to go into the Q&A right now, but Samson, now this man, I think before he was 30, he wrote 30 books. I don't know how he did it, whether when from year one, as just came out, he scripted as book one, I don't know, but he did it. This guy he's a consultant to consultants, and he's many things. So Samson, one question for you. How can young people, what creative ways, how can young people, what mindset, what thinking, what can they do to engage corporations? I have known you personally to be able to get into a place and you bamboozle the place. And probably you get them running after you. What can young people do? Because I think a lot of us have ideas, right? And like nobody's listening to us, right? And you wish somebody would just listen to you, right? Good, you need to listen to this man. So he tells you how people will listen to you.
So let's understand that it's important that we understand the business side of our talents. I'm a man of many paths. And then I realized that one of the ways I can make more money is for me to digitalize what I'm doing. So first, you need to have a website, either a free website or a paid website. Make sure whatever you're doing, you have a website on it. You can decide to have a personal site, or you have what we call a pen name kind of website. So you can have www.olatundesamson.com. That's my personal site. Or you can have what we call a pen name. You know Bella Niger, right? But the owner of Bella Niger is called Uche Eze. So Bella Niger is called a pen name because a name tied to a brand, but our name is Uche Eze. So you can decide to go for a pen name, which attached to a product line, or you decide to go for a corporate name, which is the name of your organizations that you've registered. Now, also let me try to look at it from this angle. I'm going to work with P's because of our time. So first, discover your passion. That's the first P. Second, discover the people you are sent to serve. So which means that your passion is tied to people, and then who are the people you're called to serve? So if you sing, what kind of song do you sing? Who are the people that will listen to your song? Those are the people you're called to serve. Can we go on? Number 3, discover the problem of these people. I'm using alphabet. Anything I'm going to be sharing with you guys is alphabet, so it makes it easier for you. Number 3 is business side of your talent. Discover the problem of the people you are called to serve. So I have a passion. Who are the people I'm called to serve? What are the problems of these people? Number 4, discover the product or services in which you can develop to solve the problem of the people you're called to serve. Can we go on? So I make money, I teach, and then what do I teach people? Entrepreneurship, how to start a business, how to take your business online. So I need to create product around it. So your product can be ebook, audio, MP3s, webinar, whatever products or services you can create that will solve the problem of the people you're called to serve. Number 5, you need to create a package around that. So your packaging is key. In Nigeria, you sell packaging, you sell perception. In developed country, you sell content. So your content is what you're good at, which is your passion, but you have to brand that your passion that will sell to the marketplace. Have you gone to Jumia before and you see something interesting, Abby? You are enticed by the picture, right? And then by the time you pay for it, they bring it to you and realize that it was the packaging that got you doing the impulse buying, right? Have you experienced something like that before? Yeah. That's based on the packaging. So you have to package. The more you package yourself, I tell people don't over-package yourself and you don't have content when you have the opportunity. It's important that you package the business side of your talents and then you have what it takes that when somebody purchases a product or services, they can easily refer you more to customers. The next point is the platform. Now, this is a platform. I have not met most of you before, so I have opportunity to activate this platform talking to you, right? Whatever platform you have the social media platform, you have churches, you have networking sessions where you have people, you have schools, whatever platform where you have your people. Look for a way to network, synergize, and then activate the platform so that you can reach out to more people to sell your product, to sell your brand, and then you can solve more problems with the passion that you have discovered. Can we go on? How many have I given now? So let me end by saying that it's important that you make profit from whatever you're doing. I tell people whatever business you're doing and you're not making 50% to 100% back profit from what you're doing, it means that you're running an NGO. So you are in business for profit making, but you are in business to serve people. The more you serve people, the more you make more money for yourself. But understand that all of these P's that I've explained, I think it's 6 or 7 P's that I've explained, to help you discover the business side of your talent, depends on the 3 E's. That's your level of education, your level of experience, and your level of exposure about what you're known for. So if you say that I'm a singer, for instance, a lot of people are doing digital marketing. Well, how come I'm doing digital marketing with companies that matters? It's based on my experience, it's based on my know-how, which is my education and background around that, and it's based on my exposure. How can I make a client convert to cash, whatever you're doing? How can I make a client be more visible? How can I make your brand become more global? Depends on my level of education, experience, and exposure in that particular aspect. Do you get? And don't forget that one of the things you must realize, if you're going to succeed in life, it's critical for you to have a positive mindset. I call it MST. Your positive mindset is key. Your skill set is important because you must be competent in whatever you find yourself doing. I mean, I've had to drop not giving people opportunities in church, but giving Muslims, because I realized that Christians keep calling on God, but when you give them opportunities, they mess up the whole thing. So you have to be sure that you are competent enough, you have the required skill set, the know-how of whatever you're doing, and not just assuming knowledge, but to consciously acquire knowledge in whatever you find yourself doing. And lastly, imagine someone who is a tailor, who has a positive mindset to prosper, got into the deal, learned the rudiment of the business, and then you don't have scissors, you don't have generator, you don't have machine. It means that if I come to you, you are likely to disappoint me. That means you have a positive mindset, you've acquired the skills, but you lack the tool set that will make it to be effective and efficient so that I can recommend more customers to you. On this note, I believe I'm able to convince you.
And not confuse us. Thank you very much. I think it deserves some accolades. That's the way I would describe that.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
My name is Adele Enyadi. I'm directing a question to both Faith and Mr. Ayodiji, especially you, Faith. No. I'm not accusing you. I'm actually going to ask you this question based on my own experiences, which I'm still experiencing. You work with Sterling. You work with First Bank.
She doesn't work with
I don't work with
We don't work with Sterling, but you have something to do with them. Partner with them.
And about to partner with First Bank.
I agree with you that the most important thing or the problems that we have is human resource, which is true. Human beings are very difficult to handle. When it comes to crediting human, there are some who are credit-worthy, but they are not knowledgeable about technology. They are. I have met them. Okay. I'll give you an example from where I work. I work with a microfinance bank. Not in Lagos, but from Oyo State, Ibadan for that matter. They say Ibadan is the largest city in Africa. For heaven's sakes, I've seen huts in Ibadan. We happen to do deposit mobilization, as usual, do campaign or will I say it's just to call people to them, and then our bank grew there. Majority of the customers we have, some don't have phones. That's why I'm putting the question to you now. Some don't have. I've seen where they don't have phones. The ones that have Palasa, they do not know how to operate it. They only show them the button of how to receive and how to put it off. Only. So even recharge the phone, no way.
Okay. So do you want me to answer?
I'm coming to where I'm going to. You are talking about technology. Someone that doesn't have phone, what does she have to do with BVN? You are saying she must have a phone and they must know how to operate it. Then definitely what you are checking, you want to know the person is credit worthy. Without saying the person, you are going to use BVN and every credit bureau to check. The person that doesn't even know anything and she is willing. Her business is actually growing. They all just know her as Yarisi or Yashola. She has, even in fact, if I'm to work with her as a sales girl, she will pay my salary double too. So how do you want to deal with people like that?
Okay, good.
Like I said, when we first started this solution, it was for the web guys who had access to smartphones and, web access. Now, Riska or whoever it is you spoke about in Ibadan. Ibadan is one of the places I'm actually in right now, delivering my product. Yes, it's true. Some don't have phones. But we believe that what we do first is to provide financial literacy. So if you could look it up, we did a project with World Bank, where World Bank was actually interested in our community, in this kind of people that you're talking about, where we first deliver a financial literacy curriculum. So that's what happens. Banks will go to somewhere and say, oh, you can do this with a bank, you can do this with a bank. No, we actually have ambassadors. Ambassadors are maybe semi-literate people in that environment who we deliver the curriculum to say, if somebody needs access to us, before the person can even have access to social lender, the person should know a little bit about financial inclusion or the financial space to start with. So we first deliver a curriculum to that particular society where she belongs, and then we have ambassadors stationed there. So these are people who are not volunteers, they're paid ambassadors, or people who are earning a living, being ambassadors. We call them ambassadors. It's some form of agency network. There's typically in that particular environment where she has a problem. She doesn't have a phone. We encourage her to get one, even if it is a Palasa phone. And then that person is on hand or on ground to be able to direct her. By the time she does it a couple of times, 3 times, 4 times, or on a regular, she gets to know exactly what to do. We've actually activated, different places, even in Makoko here in Lagos, and quite a number of places. And that strategy has actually worked for us. Okay.
The truth is, access to finance, you either use technology or you don't use technology, like the woman she described, right? And for us as a bank, that's why we are growing our agency network. I think we have the largest agency network in Nigeria, right? So that means for each location, you have an agent that knows ERC and understands ERC's business and understands how the money flows. And the person can, vouch for ERC's need for credit. So we already have that in place, and hopefully as we scale out to more locations around Nigeria, that problem will be solved.
Cool. So the second and final question is right here in front. Please keep it short, sweet, and simple.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
My name is David. I'm a core member. I'm a young artist. My stage name is Eminize. Now I have a challenge. I'll be passing out next month. Now I have a challenge. I'm an artist and I came to Lagos since last year, and I've been hearing this financial constraint in doing music, and it has been a big challenge. So I wanted to ask Mr. Sampson, how can you overcome financial constraints in doing music? Because now someone advised me recently, say, okay, Eminize, you don't have money to go to the big studio, get a job and all that. Now I have a friend also in Port Harcourt. I stayed in Port Harcourt before coming to Lagos. I have a friend in Port Harcourt who do music, and he said to get a job.
Can you sing? Let's hear you.
So,
I'm serious.
Okay.
Okay.
I can give you beats.
Okay.
So, let's go.
Yeah, okay. What if I no get money? God still love me. What if I can't get money? God cover me.
Can you sing another song?
Okay. Every day I pray to God for His blessings. I dey come upgrade conference, make I upgrade for my career.
So what kind of song are you singing?
I do street gospel. I do street gospel like Victor A.D., like, like doing
Okay, so I
motivating.
think the best thing you should do, so let's see, after, what you need basically is that you need to activate more platforms. I mean, so I've given you one of the P's. Don't have the mindset now of making money. Have the mindset of grooming yourself, having platforms to activate. That helps you more. So there's an event at Oriental. I have few people that are doing events. If I direct to the person and they like what you're singing, it means that they will give you access to different platforms. Okay. So with that,
thank you, sir.
If you can manage yourself well on the stage, you should be able to have 1 to 3 people signing you up. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
So thank you very much, panelists. Thank you very much. So we've come to the end of this panel. Shall we rise?
All right. So I want to give you a little talk. Thank you very much, Faith. Thank you very much, Ayo. It's a great investment of the time that you put here, and we really appreciate it. We want to show you a token of our love. I want you to always remember this, that we love you. It's a generation that believes in you, and it doesn't have to keep you inspiring. So it's not something you put at the side of your house. Just put it somewhere you can keep saying it, so that you can keep inspiring this generation. So I would love to invite Barry Akilaja from the university to please come and help present the set of award to our speakers.
All right. I'll give you one. I'll give you in the spirit. All right. This is from the organizers of Upgrade Conference 2019. We are excited that you're not one of the lazy Nigerian youths. We're excited that you're doing great things. Madam Faith, aren't you? So it's for you. Okay, so from the organizers of Upgrade Conference 2019, we present this special award to you. Pioneer Award presented to Faith Adeshemo. Yeah, for your pioneering and inspiring good works in Nigeria. Can you clap? You please success. Oh, we present this to you, we're excited. And we trust that, like he said, please place it in a very strategic part of your office or house so you can know that we honor you greatly. God bless you, man. Please put your hands together for her, please. All right. Every time I see people who are in head of enterprise that, head of this, I'm excited. So from Upgrade Conference 2019, this is a Pioneer Award presented to Ayodeji Aina for your pioneering and inspiring good works in Nigeria. It's presented to you by Eden Center. I hope you run out of places there. God bless you, sir. How many of you know this man? How many of you know this man? It's blood. His blood. His blood. So this award is presented to pastor, engineer, digital marketer, entrepreneur, many things and many sided. Soon to be politician, incoming governor. Amen. Samson Olatunde. If you're a young person in Nigeria and you've been around major events, major processes for a long time in Nigeria, you will have heard of the name Samson Olatunde. Am I with you? Are you with me? We have not heard his name. You are not in Nigeria. Can we all put our hands together for Samson Olatunde? This is presented to you from Upgrade Conference 2019 for your pioneering works and the books you have been writing and terrorizing us. Our God is bigger than you. Amen. Please put our hands together for Samson Olatunde. God bless you, sir. You want to take it?